Warning. This video and all other videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest any capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all. Alright, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and have you noticed that sitting in a position of power gives us space to breathe when everyone else is trying to second guess what's about to happen? Have you noticed that shooting first and asking questions second after risk presents enables us to sit here in a position of power and allow quality setups to develop so that we can capitalize on them? And that's exactly where we are. As you know, especially if you've been following me for any length of time at all, I am not the sort of person that likes to pretend there's work to do when there isn't, okay? There's a time to be in, there's a time to be out, and there's a time to go fishing. Right now, I'm happy to be out. I'm happy to sit here and acknowledge, both to you guys and to myself, that I have no clue when momentum will return, if ever. Okay, I have no idea. It's a market. Anything and everything is on the table as always. But what I do know for sure is I'm sat here ready and willing to capture the positions if quality setups present. For now, I did notice this, okay? When I was looking at the Bitcoin chart yesterday, I thought, we have seen this before, right? I am wondering if we've got a cycle inversion for Bitcoin about to play out. And we traded through the yellow, which is the Nasdaq chart, from July to October is this period in the middle, right? This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And during here, okay, it was very similar to how we've been treating today. We got a trendline breakdown, having been long, we exited the market, we found a cycle low that failed, and then we came up here expecting this to tear off, and again, it rolled over one more time. And it was in here that I made a video saying it's now or never, okay? We really have to find a cycle inversion, which is indicative of seller exhaustion. For anyone that's unsure, by the way, a cycle inversion is when a half cycle low becomes forced into a new daily cycle low, and all it indicates is all the sellers are done. So where we would be expecting a continuation, right, and a full daily cycle, there's just not enough sellers to drive the market lower. So that's what a cycle inversion is. Like I said, we made a video here for the Nasdaq, and I said it's now or never, okay? Because either we're going to force an inversion and break out and the bull market's intact, or we just failed another daily cycle and we are going to be continuing to the downside because the weekly cycle low was quite far away at the time. Needless to say, in yellow, we forced a cycle inversion and off we went, okay? Happy days, long and strong for a while. We managed to get long again publicly on the channel on a breakout and catch the meat and the potatoes of the move as always. So the big question for me is this what we've just done for Bitcoin? Okay, have we just done this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and are we about to force a cycle inversion? This is right around day 30, so it is right around the half cycle low point for Bitcoin. And for now, the way I have to kind of look at this is a failed daily cycle, which tells us to expect a little bit more downside, okay? But if this really is going to become an inversion, if we really are about to force the half cycle low into a cycle low, just like we did here for the Nasdaq, then very good things should be about to come thereafter for Bitcoin. And similarly to how I treated the prior inversion, where I drew a trend line across the top and used this as my breakout and re-enter point, that is what I'm going to be looking to do for Bitcoin. Drawing a trend line, if we see a breakout, then I'll be getting long in here, capturing the last part of what I believe will be the move to all-time highs. So for now, it's uncertain, okay? And I'm protected. I'm flat in terms of my trading position. So if we get this, okay, all the way back down to the lows, then I can take all of that cash that I made on the way up with the multiple trade entries and reallocate it later on in the cycle. But for now, at least, I remain cautiously optimistic that we might have something like this coming, particularly as we have completely fried sentiment. Nobody believes Bitcoin can actually continue to move higher at this stage. So it will indeed be interesting for me to see if we can force a cycle inversion here. Of course, we won't know until we've confirmed it by breaking out with the trend line, as I said. Keeping in with this theme of being cautiously optimistic, yet still patiently sat on the sides waiting for momentum to return, Tony the Bull here points out that although wave 4 is more commonly a sideways correction, Instead, what we've got right now is a sharp correction. And the current retrace is characteristic of a wave 4 correction. Wave 4 is typically 14.6, 23.6, or 38.2% of wave 3. And Tony has kindly pulled a fib here for us, and you can see we touched perfectly to the tick the 0.38, okay, the 38.2% corrective move. So if indeed this is 3 into 4, we should have done all the correcting we need to do, and wave 5 could well take us well above 100k. Again, a lot of people will be quite upset with the idea that that's possible, but again, as I said, open to everything right now, okay? We're protected against downside in case this should happen, and if we do get a breakout, then again, I've got a very good track record of publicly catching those. At the same time, Crypto Naba here points out, okay, that this is what a fear-driven fifth wave looks like. Remember that we are talking about Bitcoin behaving as a commodity here rather than a stock. In stocks, okay, the fifth wave tends to be driven more by hope. Hope that things will improve, okay? Hope that we can see a repeat of the big strong push from wave 3. But in a commodity, the fifth wave tends to be driven by fear. Okay, when people are buying gold, they're not buying gold because they are hoping things will get better. They're buying it because they fear the worst will happen and they need to protect their downside. Similarly, if they're buying wheat or grains or corn, they're not doing so because they're hopeful that things are going to get better. They're doing so because they are scared that the prices are going to get into orbit and they need to protect themselves against not being able to afford food. So if Bitcoin is more like a commodity than it is a stock, we should probably be thinking of seeing a fear-driven fifth wave come in for Bitcoin rather than a hope-driven fifth wave. And so as Naba points out here, to see what a fear-driven fifth wave looks like, we only have to look at Bitcoin priced in the Argentinian peso, okay? This is a fear-driven fifth wave because they have a severe inflation and even hyperinflationary issue over there, okay? People are buying Bitcoin because they are scared not to hold it. And so, of course, the big question becomes, can the Bitcoin dollar, Bitcoin euro, and Bitcoin GBP chart end up forming one of these big fear-driven fifth waves? And I know a lot of people, as I'm saying this, will be sat there saying, nope, no way, no way, no way. But the reality is, okay, we cannot discount anything at this current moment in time. And as Naba also points out, okay, if we just have completed the 3 into 4, okay, the 3 into 4 before that fifth, wave 4 is labeled a surprising disappointment, okay? This signals that the best part of the growth phase has ended and it does not enter the price territory of wave 1. So far, so good. And I think it's safe to say, anyone that has bought Bitcoin in the last 16, 17, 18 weeks, however long this period was, okay, is surprisingly disappointed. A lot of people got in here. A lot of people said, oh, maybe left translation is real, okay? Oh, maybe this cycle is different. We did actually indeed put an all-time high in before the halving. Maybe the ETFs are never going to allow a bear market or a drawdown again, okay? And anyone that entered in this last sort of 15, 16, 17 week period, okay, has indeed had a surprising disappointment in line with this right here. But we are likely now ready to start to see bullish catalysts return to the market and resumption of the primary uptrend. Of course, we've had Bitcoin and the ETH ETFs approved, okay? We've also had the XRP Ripple case solved. We've got wave 4 macro corrective disappointment has indeed played out. As I said, anyone that has bought any time in the last few months cannot be labeled as anything other than disappointed, okay? The only people that are here chilling are the people that bought anywhere before this kind of neighborhood, okay? If you bought in here, where I'm highlighting red, then you're probably okay. If you bought above this green line right here, anywhere in this neighborhood, it's hard to say that you are probably excited, thrilled, over the moon with your investment decision, okay? You are likely surprisingly disappointed with the performance. When you bought it, whether it was 1 or 17 weeks ago or anywhere in between, you likely expected it to do something a lot better than what it has done. So it begs the question, doesn't it? Is this the last possible entry before the fifth? Soon we will find out. Again, not pretending to know. Okay, not making moonboy calls here, not trying to say that we know what's going on, simply observing the charts, allowing the price action to come to us and sitting here in a position of power, ready to capitalize if momentum returns. And I found this from Prez yesterday, and I thought this was absolutely brilliant, so I wanted to show you this, okay? The Bitcoin all-time high before the halving idea was rejected by most at first. And I can say this firsthand, a lot of people were writing on my YouTube comments and stuff like that and saying, why are you trying to be different? Okay, why are you making things up? Bitcoin's never done that before. But then very quickly, it gained popularity, okay? It was hard to deny the fact that this cycle was accelerating ahead of what we had seen historically for Bitcoin. Remember, old cycles kind of did something like this, okay? And then we had the halving, the post-halving sell-off, and then Moon City comes in. And then very quickly, people said, it's a crowded idea, there isn't time, and they pivoted back. Then it actually happened. Bitcoin made an all-time high before the halving. Many people said it was impossible. And only when presented with undeniable new data, when Bitcoin prints an all-time high before its halving, did people suddenly become forced to accept that this cycle had accelerated faster And it's a very, very similar deal for this whole idea of the left translated cycle. At first, this was rejected by most. I can tell you this for sure. I was getting comments every single day saying things like, why are you trying to be different? Okay, every cycle, some clown comes out here and suggests that this time might be different. And one of my favorite quotes is, society turns to persecution of anything it doesn't agree with. Okay, everyone thought it was okay to just look left and extrapolate right. Again, the idea of left translated cycle was rejected by most at first. But then it gained popularity. Of course, people are always late to the party, and the herd can be right for a while, because in here, it doesn't take a genius to work out that we are well ahead of schedule and on track for perhaps seeing a top come in before November of this year, qualifying it as left translated. And now all of a sudden, it's back to people are saying this is a crowded idea. There isn't time to have a left translated cycle anymore. Why are you trying to be different, Camel? I'm getting dozens of comments a day from people saying it was always a load of BS. It was always never going to happen. This cycle is not different at all. But of course, in saying that, you are completely disregarding the fact we made an all-time high before the halving. So notice how, okay, very similarly to the all-time high before the halving, it gained popularity. People said there isn't time, and then it happened, okay? And now what we've got is society turning to persecution of the left translated cycle idea. They quickly pivoted to, this is my base case all along, right? And it's funny because I remember seeing people in the comments that were very vocal about saying this was BS. And then those same people were like, yeah, that's my base case. And now those same people again have been saying it was always a load of BS. So it's pretty funny, right? It's pretty funny. This is just how markets work. And it is indeed things that make you go, right? Is it possible now that everyone has undergone that surprising disappointment? Everyone has completely ruled out a fear-driven fifth and a left-translated cycle. Even if it's slightly right-translated, that still speaks to more than a 12-month bear market. And my question to you is it possible now that everyone thinks it's impossible, we can actually see it continue to be the path of max pain? So well done to Crypto El Prez here for being an objective observer. And so with all that said, okay, I'm not going to pretend like there's work to do. There are a couple of things that I think we should be paying attention to. Okay, this is the VIX. So first of all, let's zoom out. We've got this big trend line break, okay, and undoubtedly a big push. Now, most of that is wick, okay, upper shadow wick, as you can see. But objectively speaking, this is, at least for now, breakout, retest of the blue before possible resumption to the upside. If that is the case, it speaks to a lot more downside in the stock market. If you are one of these people that thinks it's time to buy the dip or that there's one more leg higher, you really need to see some kind of rollover back below the blue trend line. And again, for the S&P 500, this thing could really go either way, okay? I've got a long here lined up in case we break out, in case we make some technical repairs. As it stands, just buy the dip, bro. Not going to fly if you're a trader, not going to fly if you're trying to manage risk and find quality setups. As it stands, okay, I see no reason why we couldn't do something like this and then roll over, or even start to get acceleration to the downside, counter trend bounce before weekly cycle low. So it's all to play for. Again, I'm ready if the setup presents, but if it doesn't, then again, no surprise to the Camel Crew. It's kind of the same deal for the Nasdaq, right? Look at this, it starts to look good, okay? But so far, long way away from getting in on a repair. Now, I was thinking about this the other day, even if this low holds and we kind of waddle around here and then break out, notice how shooting first, exiting the market, will have allowed us to at least protect against some downside and re-enter lower. And of course, if this thing is about to become something a lot more severe, then we'll be able to get back in way lower. Again, it speaks to not getting married to an idea, being flexible and open to all outcomes. Dow Jones thinking about making a new low as well. I do wonder if we've got to come and back test the prior all-time high in green. That's to be determined. Meanwhile, gold and silver, I think, are looking for a weekly cycle low rollover over the next couple of weeks. So I'm keeping a close eye on that. Silver's looking a lot more like I'd expect it to look. Looks like it's hunting a weekly cycle low a bit lower down. And then I think there's going to be some real opportunities there. And last but not least, okay, Bitcoin is doing okay, right? In the face of the stock market and everything else, Bitcoin is holding up relatively well at the moment. So again, I do wonder if we're going to see something like this come out of here for Bitcoin. But again, I'm not trying to pretend like I know what's going on. I'm going to wait for momentum to return. There will be plenty of opportunities to get back in. And if we have got a big squeeze, okay, then even if you think getting in up here is very late relative to down here, well, so long as we catch the bulk of the move here, okay, and we caught the bulk of this move up to about here, then I would say that's not too bad, personally. Yeah, you can always do better. Yeah, we could have sold here, okay, and caught all of this move, but the reality is you're never going to be perfect in trading. And if something like this is to come next, okay, then I guarantee you that the exit just recently will look a darn sight better than most people's performance over this cycle. So as always, okay, continue to take things one day at a time, continue to accept that sometimes the read is clear, and when it is, we can trade confidently, and sometimes the read is not clear, in which case there's nothing wrong with just bowing out, sitting in cash for a few weeks or months, and letting the trade setups come to me. Remember, as always, I want quality over quantity, and by taking it one day at a time, we will continue to stay on the right side. I'm your boy Camel. I hope you have a fantastic rest of the week, and until next time, take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.